Hey, Mike here with Canadian Musician. Here at the Sony Music Canada offices in, I suppose, northern Toronto. What do you call North York? I suppose North York.
North York.
Yeah. Anyways, here with me is Terra Lightfoot. Now a fantastic solo star. You may also know her from her country folk roots band Dinner Bells, which was my first introduction to you, by the way, and love the most recent Dinner Bells album, River in the Will. If you're in the roots music, check that out. But primarily, we're here to talk about Terra's new solo album, Every Time My Mind Runs Wild.
You did it.
I was repeating it over and over in my head. Just don't screw it up. Don't screw it up. But first of all, Terra, just thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So when I heard Every Time My Mind Runs Wild, almost screwed it up the second time. Like I said, my introduction to you was through Dinner Bells. Yeah. And so I was, which I love, but I was really pleasantly surprised when I heard the new solo album. And even in comparison to your first solo album, it has a grittier, more in-your-face kind of blues and soul sound to it. And so I want to start off generally just talking about that sound. Where did that come from? Was that always something you wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing guitar, and those sounds, that gritty kind of, it's been called blistering recently, which is kind of like a compliment, I think. I think it's a compliment. Yeah. But I love to play guitar like that. I love to get those sounds out of my amps and my guitars, and I have a lot of nice gear that I like to play with. I think it just came from that, and guitar players always like being loud, right? Yeah. That's our thing. So I think that's probably where it comes from.
Since you, right off the bat, you bring up you like to play with your guitar, I saw that there's this, I guess it's a mini documentary, about a 4-minute film online. I believe it's just called Veronica, if I'm not mistaken. And that name comes from the Gibson SG that you've had for a long time. And what is it about this? Is it a sentimental attachment? Is it the sound? What is it that makes it worthy of its own film? Like, that's how much you're attached to this guitar.
Well, I think the guy who did the film, Christopher Mills, I don't know if you know him or his work. No. He's done videos for like Metric, Interpol, Broken Social Scene. Yeah. Amazing guy. He kind of found my story before I knew I even had one, if that makes sense. Yeah. He kind of interviewed me, and we were talking about doing a video, and he was asking all about, me, and it basically came down to that I love my guitar. Yeah. So that's what he decided to make the video about. My relationship with that guitar grew so much because I learned to play. I learned to play a lot of things on it. I mean, I got it when I was 17. I'm 28 now, so that's 11 years. That's a long time with like a best friend. Yeah. And I think the other thing is a lot of people don't really like it. Like guitar players that I respect so much. Don't like playing it. They're not into the neck or the shape of the neck, and I don't care. It kind of made me just want her more. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Is it because you've overcome its challenges and you know how to play it and no one else does? Is that part of it, or is it?
I think it's just like if you like it or not. It's not like a challenge to play. I think it's a beautiful guitar, and I'm just so used to it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, having friends say, "Oh, I don't want to borrow that for the recording," I've decided against it. Yeah. I don't care. That's great. I'll use it on my recordings. And it's all over my new record. Is it? Yeah, which was a huge compliment because we recorded in a studio with a lot of pre-1970, cool. Just beautiful guitars. And we used the SG on mostly everything.
Where were you recording? Was it? I'd read Toronto Island. Was the whole album done there?
Yeah. So, and Gus Van Gogh and Werner F. I don't know if you know those guys.
No, I know the name Gus Van Gogh. I don't know Werner F. Where do they come from?
Well, they are like based in Montreal, but they've done like Colorado. Okay. I think they did the Stills, which is why we had Liam come in and play keyboards. Okay. And then they did the new White Horse, which is why we even why I got connected with them. My friend Jer, who's in Monster Truck, had connected with me and said, you should use Gus for your next record. And when I looked him up, I found out he's also doing White Horse at the time. Yeah. So I think Luke and Melissa from White Horse were probably saying, oh, you should check Terra out. Because I don't think he would have really worked with me, maybe. He's so good. He's amazing. He's an amazing producer. But yeah, the deal was made. We went out for dinner. We both ordered the lamb. It was all over. Yeah, it was beautiful. And then we made what I think is I'm actually proud of this record.
Are you? Is that to imply? Is that to imply that you weren't proud of I'll say the previous solo album, or?
I mean, yeah, it's just one of those things. Whether you can listen, nobody can listen to the record after they record it. Yeah. But this is one that I'm still into it, and I want to push it even after, because it takes a year to get anything done. Yeah. So we recorded last May, so it's April now, and it's just come out. Yeah. So. Logically I should be sick of these songs, but I'm still wanting to play them. I'm still wanting to push them. I'm still inspired by them. So that's kind of exciting for me.
Like you said, there's sometimes, like you said, like a year between when the album's done and when the album finishes. And then it can be many years between when those songs were written and you first started performing them and the album comes out. Is it the grittier sound? What is it that makes the songs on this album still fresh for you? Whereas not so much the case for the previous collection.
I think it's the band. I got a new band, so I'm super pleased to be playing with people of that caliber. I have Matt Fleming on bass, who is actually a guitar player, but he kind of was willing to, I don't know, what would you call it?
Fudge it, fake it.
Sort of. And the drummer Joel is amazing as well. He's actually a jazz guy. Yeah. They both are. So I have 2 jazz guys in my band, and then I have my keyboard player Greg from Dinner Bells. Okay. I just kind of melded everybody together. But it's exciting because in my old band, we were still playing the songs, we were going through the motions, but nothing was really kind of catching any of us. There were a couple of songs that we were excited about, but in this band we're excited about mostly every song, because we're working them until we are rehearsing and working all the time. And so when we come up with a finished product together, we're excited about it.
Obviously you'd be the lead songwriter then. Like, what changed? Well, first of all, were these songs written collaboratively, or was it really you bringing them to the band?
Yeah, it's I write the songs and then I bring them to the band, and then we kind of, in a nice way, the guys usually do what I ask. Yeah. So if I say, "Oh, could you play the drums halftime or something?" they'll do that.
Yeah, but it's going to have your name on it, so it has to be what you want.
Yeah. But we arranged them together, and the production, like the pre-production, was the most exciting part. Really? Why? The songs all come together in pre-pro, so you do a week of intensive. We're on the island, right, in Toronto. No grocery store, no nothing. So it was pretty intense, having to feed yourself and do grocery shops at the right time and make sure everybody's fed. On top of reworking songs that you thought were good. And, a lot of them made it on. But, Gus just kind of took parts and said, you need to write a part here. You need to add this. You need to take this away. And melded everything in this beautiful way that it made the songs better where I didn't know they could be. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
Was there a general theme to the changes that Gus was suggesting? Was it more subtract, add on a particular part? Essentially, was there a cohesiveness to what he was suggesting?
Yeah, I think Gus comes from, he saw where I was coming from, which is kind of like a 60s, like a sort of vintagey vibe. And I love to play guitar. Yeah. And I love different chords and different kind of chord structures. So he wanted to kind of ramp up the 50s, 60s vibe, and add things like middle eights, which is like an old school, like a Beatles kind of move. And he had a picture in his mind of all these different bands that I kind of took the place of for him. So like Creedence Clearwater Revival or Van Morrison, or I think Melanie, because I love her, but he wouldn't say that.
Melanie, is she the one that had the roller skate song?
Yes. I love her.
That's a fantastic pop song.
She's amazing. I saw her in Hamilton.
Really? Is she still performing?
She is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was really cool to see her live. And she has guitar picks, which I got myself because of her. Yeah, so now I have guitar picks that say Terra Lightfoot. Because she has heart-shaped picks that say Melanie. How cool is that?
That is cool.
Yeah.
Nice. She was on Apple Records, if I remember. Did she have some connection to Paul McCartney or something?
I don't know. I would not be surprised. That woman is cool. Yeah. Have you listened to her records?
No. I honestly, I've only heard, I would say, 3 songs at most. My introduction to her was my dad had created a mix CD at some point that had that roller skates song onto it, and part of me was like, this is kind of cheesy bubblegum pop, but also it's just a fantastically catchy tune.
Yeah, the chord structure how does it happen?
Yeah.
It's not tricky.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. Yeah. And it's so catchy. The high chorus.
It really, really is.
Yeah.
I guess to, I suppose, bring it back to yourself here, and you said the word tricky there, which just reminds me, I'd read an interview with you that you were doing, I think it was with the Hamilton Spectator or something like that, if I remember correctly, and it was around the time that you were first starting to work on these songs. And at that time, you'd said when you were writing for the first album, you were consciously trying to write in odd time signatures and stuff like that, maybe as a challenge to yourself or just to stand out. But for these batch of songs, you were bringing back more just classic song structure. Now that the finished product is obviously done, did you stick to that plan?
Oh, for certain. I mean, when I was talking about writing in weird time signatures or doing strange chords, it was my attempt to stand out. I mean, I was listening to prog rock, like I was listening to King Crimson or, Soft Machine, stuff, just weird music. Yeah. So I was kind of a weirdo when you know what I mean? But yeah, in this record, I was more classic. I mean, I listened, a lot of the stuff that I listened to is old. Mm-hmm. It was actually difficult. The producer asked me to send along some favorite current records. Mm-hmm. And I had a really hard time sending him stuff that I felt related to what I was doing. Okay. Like not, because I love a lot of current.
But you wanted something that was representative
of
what you were going after.
And it was hard for me to find a representative picture. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
Because a lot of the stuff that I really love and that I'm kind of trying to emulate is from a while ago.
What is it then that you ended up sending or choosing then?
Well, I ended up sending him a T-Rex album. The Slider.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
I was going to say Electric Warrior, but the Slider is fantastic.
Yeah. So, like, I love that record. And I think I sent him one of the Melanie, like, Gather Me by Melanie, which is ridiculous because that has nothing, it's just me wanting to project Melanie onto myself. But, yeah.
But even then, like, hearing, say the Slider or Melanie, like we said, or at least, like I said, what I know of her is pretty poppy. The Slider is, T-Rex is obviously, 70s glam rock. It's not what I would have guessed you would have sent in relation to this album. Like, I would have thought something more along the lines of, I don't know, like Creedence or Otis Redding or something along those lines. Know what I mean?
Yes, those are also things that I should have sent that I couldn't think of at the time. You had, there was another one on the tip of my tongue. I'm trying to remember.
That you sent or that you thought would have been a better mix in retrospect?
Well, there's always things in the back of my mind. Everybody's listened to the Beatles at length. Oh, yeah. I mean, when I started driving, I just had all of the albums and that's what was in my car. Yeah. And Simon and Garfunkel as well. So for the softer songs, that's totally where I come from. Like their album Bookends.
Fantastic.
Is huge. But I mean, just all those bands, really. Yeah.
In the kind of bio, I suppose, that accompanies this album, that record company and whatnot puts out, you'd mentioned like those records that you'd sent as a reference, but you also talked about that you're actually kind of deconstructing the songwriting of these classic records or of your favorite classic songs. Mm-hmm. Is that indeed the case? Was there did you consciously sit down and say, how are these songs put together and where is the sound coming from?
Well, I think since I was a little kid, I've been able to play by ear, which, some people can do, some people can't do. But so whenever I'm listening to a song, I'm hearing the chords, like I'm seeing them on the guitar. So it's kind of, I mean, a lot of people are like that when you play guitar. It's just a thing. But so when I'm listening to any pop song, or even like if you're listening to AM radio and there's just, a single from like 1961 that isn't popular now, you can hear all those chords and it kind of, I guess it all bounced around in my brain until I came up with something kind of strange. Like there's 2 soul songs, like soul ballads on there. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where those came from for sure. Okay. The AM radio kind of vibe. Yeah.
Did your actual process of songwriting change for this album? Well, how do you usually start a song? Are you starting with a chord progression? Or are you starting with a lyric or a title? Like, how does a song usually take shape for you?
Well, these days I'm a lot busier now. So, I mean, when I was writing for this record, it was interesting for me to be able to take myself out of the process, to take me out of the lyrics. and to try and write from somewhere different, from not being Terra, but
more a third.
Yeah, being somebody else.
Observer of something else.
That's what songwriters do. Great songwriters write about. Our lives are boring probably, but so it was interesting for me to take myself out of that and stop writing. I always write love songs, but it was interesting to try and not write.
You're not the only one.
Yes, everyone is always writing love songs.
Right as I take a sip of water.
Sorry.
But in that case too, just to expand on that point, then if you're not writing from a personal or first person perspective, you're trying not to write, love songs or just love songs. What was the inspiration then for the lyrics? Was it moments you saw around the city? Was it hypothetical situations? What was inspiring you to write then?
That is a great question. I like that you asked whether I saw the moments around the city. It's certainly inspiring to see people walking in their everyday lives. I am a nerd. I studied anthropology at university, like cultural anthropology, which is literally people watching. So in a way, I'm sure I was certainly inspired by, people watching in a way. And other than that, situations with friends or family, like things going on, it's always helpful to kind of feel the emotions of other people and try and put yourself in their place and try and connect with people. Ultimately, that's what we're trying to do.
Speaking of the city, you're from Hamilton, or at least have been in Hamilton since you went to university. I think you moved to Toronto briefly, but went back to Hamilton. Yes. A lot of people still think you're in Toronto, or what?
Some people do. Dave Hodge, do you know that guy?
Yeah, from TSN.
Yes, he's the best. But he was emceeing an event that I was doing, and he went up, and we were in Hamilton, and he talked about how I was a transplant and how I was in Toronto, and I had just moved home.
Jokingly, or?
Well, he was kidding.
Okay.
But he was really disturbed to find out that he had done his information wrong, and I just moved home a month earlier. So I only lasted in Toronto 6 months. But it was good. It was good. It was cool.
Yeah.
And actually, I wrote most of the record in my basement apartment on Dovercourt.
Maybe the outsider perspective inspired the album then, in a way. Yeah. What I was, I suppose, going to get to is I guess just to tell you, I moved to Burlington about a year and a half ago, right next door, and since then I've been spending more time in Hamilton than I ever did before, and I'd say very unfairly, Hamilton gets a poor rap from a lot of Ontarians, and has an image, let's say.
Yeah.
But anyways, what I was saying is the more time I spend in Hamilton, the more I really love Hamilton. And it seems to be, when I start kind of exploring the downtown and that, it seems to be that there's these boroughs that they have kind of a cool vibe to them. There's an arts vibe to them, and it's starting to become more of a bohemian center. Yeah. I don't know if that's artists getting priced out of Toronto or whatever it is, but I just kind of curious if you having a better history in the city, do you think that there is a bit of an arts renaissance going on in Hamilton?
Oh, certainly. It's been going on for years and years and years. There's James Street, there's Locke Street, there's Ottawa Street. There are many other streets as well, but those are the three kind of main centers you can go to and see a lot of really cool shops, like records, vintage things. On Locke Street, it's a little more expensive. We have a Starbucks there.
Posh.
Yes, it's so posh. But James Street has been going for, it's been, I don't know, probably 20 years that it's been kind of going up and up. And now everybody's getting priced out very quickly. We barely had time to gentrify. I'm not kidding. Gentrification barely happened. There was so much speculation, like real estate speculation. They've just built condos, and there's still little tiny stores that are renting, sometimes only for $600 a month or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. They just missed gentrification. The process just isn't. It's over, and so it's already gentrified. So, but it is. I liked what you said about boroughs as well. That's kind of a New York thing. But I think we do have boroughs in Hamilton, and
I definitely say there's pockets boroughs around the downtown that are finding their own identity in a way.
And I think it's important to mention too that there are little amazing things around every corner, like certain things. Like, okay, I'm going to mention well, the Bayfront Park is beautiful. We have amazing hiking trails. We have great restaurants that are sometimes in the middle of nowhere.
Fantastic. One of my favorite restaurants my wife and I go to pretty often is a little Ethiopian restaurant. Yes.
Was. Yes.
The place is amazing.
Yes.
Sorry, sidetracked there, but I had to say it.
That's okay. Yeah, we have amazing restaurants, but sometimes they're in weird pockets of town that you wouldn't travel to. Yes. Like Bella Pizza is the best pizza in Hamilton. It's at Barton and Wentworth, which is not a corner that you would go to. Generally. Or Duarte's sandwiches. Okay. Best sandwiches. Oh my gosh. But it's in the middle of like a weird neighborhood that you wouldn't go to. There's a lot of shut down shops and things. It's kind of, I don't know what the neighborhood would be in Toronto that's comparable. That has a lot of kind of weird industrial.
I don't even know, to be honest. Everything in Toronto has become so the same, I suppose, in a way. But I can't say I don't live in in the city. I can't. I shouldn't be one to judge Toronto on camera. No. And I do actually spend a lot of time in Toronto, and I really like Toronto. No, so there we go.
No one's judging. No one's judging. It's fine.
But for you, as a songwriter, as an artist, is it a good incubator or support system as a city?
Yes, it is so amazing. My label, Sonic Onion, is amazing. They've been around for, I think, 25 years. Like doing the independent label thing, and doing distro, and they've kind of built up a lot of other creative companies and creative minds in Hamilton and helped them find a place. They have a huge building downtown on Wilson Street, so they rent space to a lot of people, like Environment Hamilton, Hidden Pony Records, which is another label. They do Said the Whale and Your Yard, among others. So yeah, I mean, and that's just one building in Hamilton. And there are so many just like that. And we have, I have a great rehearsal space right downtown. It's brand new. It's renovated. There's artist lofts. There's everything we need. It's beautiful.
It also even fairly recently opened a Hamilton Music City office of some kind. And there's been a lot of publicity about Toronto doing this, but Hamilton actually kind of just went ahead of them and did it sort of out of the blue. It seems like the city, and the Junos obviously were just there. It seems like the city's taking music and the arts. It's recognizing it's an important element of kind of bringing the city back to life in a way.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, we have Supercrawl too, which is a huge free festival. It's huge, and it's always going to be free. Well, I'm saying that. Don't judge. No. At
Shortly after my wife and I moved to Burlington, we heard about Supercrawl, and it was a free festival, and I didn't know much about it, but I was like, oh, let's go check it out or whatever. And then the lineup includes like Yola Tango and Fucked Up and all these like amazing bands. I was like, how's this just a free festival going on in the street that's getting relatively little attention?
I know.
It's anyways. Long story short, go to Hamilton. It's cool now.
It's cool now. This is sick. Canadian musician putting down Hamilton.
No, go to Hamilton. Love Hamilton. Okay. I suppose we should bring it back to the album. But one of the things I talked about, because I spoke off the bat about my love of Dinner Bells and the last album there, but it is, like we said, quite different from the new album. What do you get as a songwriter, as a performer? What do you get out of this solo work that you don't get out of Dinner Bells, and I suppose vice versa?
I'd say vice versa is a huge thing. I mean, you get different things from every project. With Dinner Bells, I mean, last night we played the Dakota, and we had a fiddle player up, Darcy Good. She's actually a member of the Good family. She's related to Travis and Dallas. And their fathers, her aunt's a musician as well. But she came up and played fiddle with us for a couple songs.
Cool. Just spontaneously?
Yeah, no rehearsal. She was opening the show with her other friend, Arthur. Okay. But it's just a beautiful experience every time I play with those guys. It's 7 friends. When we all get together, the sounds that we make, because we've been together for 5 or 6 years, it's just awesome. We have a filter. When people bring songs in, it immediately just goes through our filter, and everybody's playing the right part. We all know where to sit. We all know how to complement each other. And with my band, we're finding that road. With the solo band, we're not there yet, but we're enjoying the ride of like getting to know each other as players and complementing each other and laying back when we need to and shining when we need to.
Do you think you could have created a collection of songs like Every Time My Mind Runs Wild? Do you think you could have created a collection of songs like this without, obviously you would have been making music for those 7 years, but without those collection of friends and co-songwriters and dinner bells?
I think it would be really hard. I mean, you don't just learn to do this on your own. There are so many people that you learn from, whether they're your peers, whether they're younger than you, it doesn't matter. And singing with dinner bells and playing with them has been one of my great accomplishments, I think. Like remaining friends with them and you have to put work into your relationship as a band. And putting out 2 records together, going through the recording process with 7 people, trying to schedule things, not easy. And it also helped me know where to put my songs and know when I'm writing a rock song, okay, that's for me, or I'm writing a country song, that's for dinner bells.
That was actually going to be my next question, is when you're writing, do you know which project you're writing for?
Yeah, well, especially now, I mean, there is one country song that's sneaked onto my record, The Truth, but in general, I mean, when you're writing a dinner bell song, it's rootsy vibe. I could steal them for myself, but I like giving them to the band.
Is that when you sit down to write, are you saying I'm going to write a rootsy dinner bell song, or are you just writing and then see which one it slots into?
I think that usually I finish the song and then we see, and sometimes, a lot of people have a song bank, like you end up with a bank of songs. There's a lot of songs that haven't come out on either project yet that are just sitting there waiting to be picked. And maybe they won't be, and that's half the fun. You just don't know. That's what I like about the writing process, is you just get it done, and if anything comes of it, great, and if it doesn't, it's fine. And if Gus Van Gogh comes along and picks it apart and makes it better, and then you put out a record, then that's great.
Cool. And excuse me. When first, in Dinner Bells, is it the songwriting? Is each person bringing complete songs to the bands, or is it a collaborative songwriting thing? How different is that for you as a writer from doing your solo work?
Well, with Dinner Bells, we're actually trying to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone, which is good. So I'll write with Brandon, or Brandon will write with Brad, or Briscoe will write with Cass, etc. So there's a lot of different things that we try and accomplish with that band. And with me, I'm always bringing completed songs to the band. And just, they just work them from there. So.
And, getting close to the end here, but to go back to Gus and Werner F., and how would the album have been different? Like, is there a result, a song, a sound, something on this album that wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for their influence, or had even been another producer working with you?
I think it's important for your producer to have a vision, and Gus had a vision from the moment that he heard the songs. He knew what he wanted, and he took my guitar tone and kind of laced it through the entire album. And that's holding the record together for me. And he really ripped apart Joel's drums, and not rip them apart. He was playing excellent parts, but he would ask him to do something different, or put a crash here where it's really difficult to do sometimes, or syncopation. And Joel ate it up, and we all did. We all just soaked up what he was giving us, and we would not have had that, that kind of cohesive sheen that I think is on the record without Gus.
Did they have an influence on your singing on this record? Your singing on this record's unlike any other singing that a fan of your first album or a fan of Dinner Bells will have heard, to the point where you would be forgiven for not even thinking it was the same singer at times. Like, where did that voice come from? Has that been something that you've always had in your pocket and it wasn't suitable for previous songs, or is that a voice that you really discovered for this record?
I think, Gus certainly pushed me beyond my limits that I knew that I had. Before, on the last Dinner Bells record, we were sort of getting there. I wasn't really comfortable yet. So Gus would say things like, I like that chorus. Can you sing it an octave higher? And, it's one of those things you think you can't do it, but when somebody just says, go ahead, and has complete faith in you, you do it. So, I completely credit him with that, for pushing me outside of my comfort zone. Did
you ever receive vocal training, or are you completely self-taught as a singer?
I had one or 2 vocal lessons. I think I had 2 with the same teacher.
How long ago?
I don't know. I think I was like 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quite a while back.
Yeah. I didn't. We learned a Simon and Garfunkel song. It wasn't for me. I just decided the vocal lessons weren't for me. But I want to take them now.
Okay.
If there are any vocal teachers watching, I need you.
I'm just going to say, it wasn't Bridge Over Troubled Water you tried to sing, was it?
Yes. How did you know?
Because it's one of like the hardest songs in the world to sing.
Oh.
What? I was going to say, who would take a 18-year-old be like, Nail, sing this impossible song to sing.
I love Simon and Garfunkel, so she just, I already knew the tune. It was cool. Anyway, jeez.
Impressive. Okay. Just try singing that song. Anyways, Terra, this has been really fun. I really enjoyed this. Go to Hamilton, as we were talking about. It's always been cool.
Yes.
I'm covering my tracks here.
Yes.
Anyways, Terra, the new album, again, I should say, is every time my mind runs wild. It's out now. It's fantastic. If you love classic blues, classic soul, get it. It's a fantastic record. And but also check out Dinner Bells. Thank you for this, Terra. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Cheers.